The channel. Hope you're having an amazing day. Now in today's video I'm going to show you guys the best loadouts to use in Insurgency Sandstorm, the meta weapons to use for each class. So guys, let's get straight into this, starting off with the Rifleman class. Now the meta weapon I would say for the Rifleman is definitely going to be the M4A1. It's probably one of the most used weapons in the game. To be fair, none of these other weapons are really used, apart from right now the AKM or the AK-74 if you're going to be on the insurgent side. Apart from that, sometimes the MDR, but mainly it is the M4. But there's so many loadouts you can use with this. Now a lot of people go with kind of the 1x holographic sight, a underbarrel, and then normally just a laser. This is kind of their normal standard kind of issue weapon, or even an extended magnet. It's kind of their standard issue rifle, and to be fair, it's not bad, but you can also have other ones. There's a lot of people who use like a 2-to-1x holographic sight like so. However, I like to use a 1x MRO sight, a aiming grip, a laser sight, and then a extended magazine. So this personally is my loadout at the M4, but once again, you can literally use any sight, like reasonable sight, aiming grip, extended mag, laser sight, etc. One thing I actually would recommend you guys try out is like a 4x M150 sight. This is kind of like a SUSAT sight. You use this, have something like a laser sight, extended magazine, and then put something like a quick draw grip, or when you go to your handgun, remove things from your handgun, and then you can have something like a recoil grip. This is also really good if you're having a bit more of a if you're playing on a map which is much more long range engagements and not really close quarter combat. A 4x SUSAT sight can actually be brilliant for that. I personally rock the 110-6A1, obviously also the Glock 17 if I have the coins or the budget to do so, but normally the 110-6A1 is my handgun of choice. Normally on this I'll use 6 magazine, a laser sight, and a quick draw holster. Then I use 2 flash grenades, a light carrier, light armor, and a combat knife. Moving on then to breach, we do have a couple of this. So the first one is going to be the MP5. It's what you can use. Honey Badger, MP7, MP5 are all pretty popular choices, plus some shotguns. So here's what I use personally on the MP5. I have this maxed out. So we have the 1x MRO, a flash hider, an aiming grip, extended magazine, and a laser sight. So the extended magazine, I think, is pretty much you don't have to use it. Obviously, you do have the 30 round mag, but if you put it on fully auto in buildings, it can go very quickly. I have the aiming grip, just that faster aim ADS speed. I have a flash hider. At first, I was gonna have nothing then, and then I thought I don't really need more on my handgun, because I'm going to be mainly using the MP5, and then also the 1x MRO, plus the 110-6A1, 2 flashes, light armor, light carry-out, light armor, and combat knife. And then for my other class, I have the Honey Badger. I don't really use the Honey Badger much, but I did use this once or twice. So we have the 4-to-1x SU-230 sight, a suppressor, aiming grip, and a laser sight with tracer rounds on it. Now, I personally just really like using this sight. That's why I used it. But honestly, you can literally use anything like you wish, honestly. One thing I do highly recommend is the 2-to-1x with red dot. I think this is actually a really good sight to use. I then use the suppressor, aiming grip, and laser sight. And then once again, I can upgrade this to any handgun I want. Once again, using 2 flashes, a light carrier, light armor, and a combat knife. So going on to Advisor, probably my favourite class to use because the weapons are literally just the best here. We have the Mark 17 or the Scar. We have a SA-80, a Mark 18, a P90, a Vector. I mean, yeah, you cannot go wrong with this class, can you? So the first is the SA-80. I've gone for much more of kind of the British Army kind of look, but there's improvements I can make. So I use a 4-to-1x SUSAT sight. Personally, I'm not really a fan of the reticle, but it has kind of grown on me a little bit over the past couple of weeks I've been using it. So yeah, SUSAT sight for sure, but you can literally use anything else you want. You could use one of these, or once again, the M1 500. Then I have the aiming grip. I normally do use the recoil grip bipod, which is a much more realistic weapon of choice. Then I have the extended magazine and then the laser sights. For barrels, you can use a suppressor if you want to, but personally for me, I just use this loadout, and then I'll have a 110-681 and then another flash on it as well, and that's the loadout done for you right there. For the barrel, I'll just have a flasher hider, and then I use the CQB or the Mark 18 rifle. I think everyone absolutely loves this rifle. I mean, it is one of the more realistic weapons in the game, actually used by the Special Forces. So let's go through what we rock on this. So the optics, you can literally use anything you want. You can use a holographic sight, which once again a bit more realistic, an MRO sight, 2:1 times holographic, which I am quite a fan of. Then I use a suppressor. I then use the aiming grip, a laser sight, and then last but not least, an extended magazine. Now, personally, I think the extended magazine does kind of ruin the look, so if you don't want that, I recommend just using it to upgrade your pistol to whichever weapon you wish to use. But for me, I absolutely love the Mark 18. It is my favourite weapon in the game. Definitely, probably one of the more the meta weapons in the game. And then for demolitions, now once again, it's kind of like the rifleman. You can literally use anything you wish. I've personally been trying out the QBZ for this one, the QBZ-03. I've been trying out this weapon for the demolition class. Except magazine, laser sight, aiming grip, suppressor, and the 1x holographic sight. Pretty much like always. But obviously, the difference with demolitions is you have the availability to be using mines, Molotovs, AT4s, C4, IEDs, all these rocket launchers. You can use. However, I personally don't. Mainly, the main reason why is because a lot of the enemy players you'll encounter, one or two of them per objective will normally have an RPG of some sort. So I don't really think it's much use for like, what, 1-2 rounds to actually be able to spend, what, like 3 tokens on an RPG. Then for marksman, another class I absolutely love. We have the M110 SAS or a Mark 14. Now, the 110 SAS, absolutely love it, mainly because it is one of the more realistic weapons. The M110, this is obviously how it mainly looks, and then obviously you put like the hunter on to make it look even more realistic. So we have a 6-3 times DOS sights. Once again though, I personally do really like using normally something along the lines of a 4:1 times M150 sight. However, of course, this is an even better sight. A suppressor, a bipod, and laser sight, and a tracer round as well. A 110-6A1, and then, like always, 2 flashes, a light carrier, light armor, and a combat knife. Then for the gunner, something I don't really use much. I actually never touch this class. But one more, my favourite weapons would be the RPK, but also you have, you know, the PKM, AM-24-9. You have a lot of weapons to use. One weapon I definitely do suggest you guys try out, if you're not really a huge fan of the, not really a huge fan of kind of the LMGs and the high recoil weapons, one thing I definitely make sure you try out is going to be the Galil SAR. To be fair, it's actually not bad. It is pretty good, to be fair with you guys. So we're going to use a Glock on this. We're going to use a smoke. And I'm going to use a flash. Don't know why I've got heavy carrier, so we'll put light carrier, light armor. There we go. And then to upgrade to see more, we'll use a drum magazine. But you cannot use a laser sight. Yeah, drum magazines get that 50 rounds. And I think it's a pretty standard issued weapon. I'll also probably make sure you use kind of a recoil bipod to control that recoil even further. But this is definitely one of my more favourite weapons in the game. And then we have the Observer. Once again, same things we have. I personally just use the FAL as a bit of fun ones, but the M4 is definitely better for this. Now for the M4, I do use a slightly different loadout because I'm going to be the Observer. A lot of the times I'll kind of be staying back, watching the firefight, and then helping the commander make a decision on, you know, are we going to put in a strike, or, you know, what we're going to do on this objective. So personally, I use the 4 times M150. I use the recoil grip because I'll be having more longer range firefights. And let me just take out those 2 for some more coins. A laser sight, and then a flash hider. So just have a bit more of a longer range M4. As once again, just because I am going to be staying back a bit more and, you know, encountering from the far. Then for the commander, so the last setup. Here's my setup currently. So you have the 2 to 1 times holographic sight, an aiming grip, and a laser sight. The reason why we've gone for this is, once again, it's because I'm going to need the long range with the holographic sight, but then I'm still going to have those closer range encounters where I'm going to want to use a 1 times holographic sight. So yeah, personally, really big fan of this sight. Then we have the aiming grip and the laser sight with the 2-turn, and once again, as always, you have the 110-6A1 extended mag and laser sight with the 2 flashes, binoculars, light carrier and light armor, and a combat knife. If you guys do have a spare token to use, make sure always have the gas mask, but I pretty much would never have a token to use. And if anyone's wondering what my character looks like as well whilst around it, here's what it looks like. I've gone for the more realistic look. I never really used the heavy carrier or the heavy armor. I've gone for the much more realism. We are using a U-back on the torso. We are using what is pretty much a U-back with the slim fits. And the uniform we're using is the DCU, which is, well, kind of like the MTP. Near enough is, I guess you could say. Hands using the NPC gloves. Headgear we're using the MICH 2000 IR headsets. Facewear we're using a neck gaiter high. Eyewear we're using combat glasses, blue, NPC gloves, slim fit, combat pants, sand issue, boots, equipment. Vest is tan, light backpack tan, heavy backpack tan. Now you can use like DCU again with this light backpack. You can also do the same and use different things for that. But yeah guys, that's been the end of today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. It's Smart3. Have a good day guys. Peace out. Bye bye.